A move that we seem to be seeing a bit more now and again. Stan Bowman has penned an open letter to the fans of the Chicago Blackhawks, and maybe to Jonathan Toews as well, seeing as apparently they don't talk, confirming that they are in. He didn't say a complete rebuild. He did use the word rebuild, but he said they have good top line production, but the rest of the roster needs filling out. And I just think it's interesting that, because we saw it at the Rangers a couple of years ago, the GMs now appear to be willing to talk to fans, to tell them, this is what's happening, this is what we're trying to do, can't pull the wool over your eyes or anything like that. And I just thought it's interesting that they seem to be going this route now.
I think it makes sense, though, doesn't it? Because then it's almost a way to quash fan ire, especially if they're as deluded as some members of the Blackhawks fan base seem to be in thinking that they're still potentially a contender or whatever.
Or players.
Or, yeah, players more importantly. I think originally it was titled Dear Jonathan, and then someone in the PR team just said that. Let's cut that out, buddy.
I guess now is the best time to do it, because if there's no fans in the stands anyway, due to COVID, you don't have to worry about people not turning up, do you? It's the perfect time to do it. It's a genius move. I think it's a genius move.
Can't throw jerseys on the ice in a bubble, can you, Dan?
Exactly, mate. Because we always say, don't we? All we focus on is the hockey side of the game. We never think about the financial implications to teams not making the playoffs or not being, like a relevant team. And I get it, the Blackhawks are okay that they don't really have to worry about that too much, because they'll get 7 outdoor games a year and all that money and all that kind of thing, so ownership's happy. But when it comes down to it, you want to be in the playoffs for that. If you're an owner, you want to be in the playoffs for that revenue. But if there's no fans there, there's nothing. Is it? You're not missing out on anything. So now's the best time.
And even if you're sort of ignoring the playoff side of it, like openly admitting you're gonna be in a rebuild and not be a competitive team necessarily, for certain markets that really can affect your bottom line, because you're not necessarily going to sell out or whatever, are you? I don't know if the Blackhawks would have been victim to that necessarily, but they've definitely had periods of not selling out their arena and stuff like that, haven't they? So yeah, you're absolutely right. There is basically no financial risk of this year saying, yeah, we're not gonna try.
The thing is, though, as well with a rebuild is you have to be willing to sell off your assets. And I get they've traded away Sard and Crawford, or they left, but it's not like you got first round picks and prospects in return and all that kind of thing. It's not like the Kings have done, or like the Rangers have done, where they've now built up this amazing farm system. And I get it, there are still decent players, I think of players like Bergqvist and stuff like that, who are in the Blackhawk system. But you're still looking at a team that's incredibly top heavy with 2 contracts. And then you've still got 2 guys on the D side, obviously Seabrook and Keith, who are just taking up so much money that you can't, I'm not sure what they're supposed to do. Like, who else are they going to get rid of to actually try and build something back up, or at least get something back in return? I'm not sure how they're going to do a rebuild.
But that's exactly the problem. They've painted themselves into a corner a little bit, which is why they've needed to rebuild for so long, because they've slowly just dwindled away all of their sort of middle tier people, where they've just ended up with just Toews, Kane, Seabrook, Keith and Crawford, who none of them retain the value that they once did, bar maybe Patrick Kane. And like you say, you've just got no assets to recoup. So there's nothing they can do. They can't. I don't think you're going to be able to trade Jonathan Toews for what you'd want to trade him for. And in some ways,
or if you did, you have to eat a chunk of salary at least, aren't you?
Absolutely. And in some ways, it's not going to be worth it, because you're probably going to get the same amount of value from having Jonathan Toews on your roster. The only one that makes sense for me is getting rid of Patrick Kane, because I reckon you could ship him to somewhere on the East Coast who would gladly take him, and you'd get a decent amount back for him. But the value that they have to trade away are the assets that they want to keep, like your DeBrincats, your Stromes, your Nylanders, like you say, your Boqvists, and even then, that's about all they've got. I mean, they've got some other youngsters that are set to come through, but I don't think they're going to be as good as you need them to be, like your Ian Mitchells. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, case in point, Ian Mitchell's the only one I can think of.
Yeah,
Colin Delia.
I couldn't think of anyone else.
So they're really in a rough position. I think they're going to have to do it a bit the old-fashioned way and just bite the dust and try and get another high pick.
I think you're right.